All right. Well, hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it with the twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order of 8 children, I am the fourth, the middle child.
In oh so many ways, and in all of your glory, the only child who was forgotten one Christmas and named by a stranger.
That is true. And I'm a baby princess.
You are.
And who are you? This is
well, thank you for asking. I'm Frugal Miss Penny, and I am the oldest of the 8. Go figure. Anyway, it is a pleasure to have you all join us today. We often have, not often, sometimes we have on our podcast 2 other members of the Frivolous and Frugal team. One of those would be our dear sister, Faithful Nikki. She is number 3 in the birth order. And although she doesn't knit, she's an avid and very good golfer. She is our statistician as well as our encourager. And on those rare occasions that our niece, Fearless Miss Brianna, daughter of number 7, has time to join us, we get to look at her beautiful knits. So keep tuning in. You just might meet those 2. And speaking of tuning in, we're so grateful for those of you who have returned. We're hoping, as always, that you can glean a nugget or 2 from our adventures in fiber and other adventures as well. And for those of you who just found us, what a treat. We are so glad you made time to tune in. And if you don't mind, if you would let us know in the comments below how or where you heard of us, we would appreciate it. Okay, enough of the introductions. Would you please grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, because you're about to learn things, and your sense of humor for episode 90 of the Frivolous and Frugal podcast. Take it away, Dawn. Well, yeah, today we might need to just really take it all the way away, but anyway, we'll keep plugging along. Go ahead.
So what is that lovely shawl you are wearing?
For the umpteenth time, as my mother would say, I am wearing the 7/8 shawl. So many of you have heard me talk about it. You've seen it. This is one of 2 that I knit. This pattern is by Lainy Haule, and I knit it in James C. Brett Marble Chunky. But what I wanted to specifically show you today is I put on these clip sweater closures, because even though it sits very nicely on my shoulders, I thought it would be nice for the people for whom I knit it to have a closure. Now, doesn't that just dress it up?
Absolutely.
Very easy to remove. And again, I didn't want to sew anything in because I don't know if everybody will like closures. So the 2 women that I knit these for, I'll get their feedback and decide on the next ones if I will add them. So I knit these on a US size 10, and on the frugalometer, there we go. On the frugalometer, I gave it both a $1 sign, which for those of you who are new means that's a really good deal, a frugal deal for both the pattern and the fiber.
Now, where did you, I should have asked this before, where did you buy that clip at?
Oh, well, certainly I'll put the link in. I bought it from Amazon. And if we were an affiliate, you could click on it and we would make 0.03 cents. But anyway, yes, I just bought them off Amazon, and there was a wide variety. I think I could have probably bought 7 or 8 different little packets, but I didn't because I want to see if this is something people like. I don't know how sturdy these are because they're clip-ons. So if you snag it, I don't know if they'll fall off. So I just thought I would be cautious and buy 4, but I'll put the link in with the show notes below.
It'd be good. There's a couple of us going to do a local small group retreat here in the Green Bay area in January, and that's what they all want to work on at the retreat.
Oh,
so I'll share with them the link too. So
that sounds good. What about you? What's around your neck?
I am wearing, and let me get the official title for you so I don't goof it up. It is the MKAL Advent Calendar Stole 2016 by Brigit Koch. Now I knit it in 2020. It was a class that we took, and we were talking about it the other day with some of the knitters, and we all knit it and none of us ever wear it. And that just reminded me to get it out. So it was a class where every other week we met and we just followed the clues, and you'll see that each section is divided by beads. These are number 6 glass beads, and some sections a little wider than others.
Yes.
Stitch. But yeah, I love these where you get to try different stitch patterns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't do them for long. And I just put it together with a shawl, a magnetic shawl collar I got from the Etsy store called Felted Gardens. They have clip ones, but this one's magnetic.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And of course, I wear black, lots of things, so I might as well buy everything in black. A little bit about the Advent scarf itself. The yarn I used was Mirasol yarn. The base was Sulka Legato, and it was in the geranium colorway, which I thought was a fun name. It was done on US 3s and 4s based on the specific stitch pattern. On the Frugalometer, I gave the pattern a 2. What I couldn't remember is, you know how some MKALs give you a deal in the beginning?
Yes.
So maybe it was a little cheaper if you would have done it in 2016, but since we bought it in 2020, I gave it a $2 sign, and then on the fiber for the Mirasol, I gave it $3 signs. Tempted to maybe try this next year, another little sampler scarf. We'll see. I think this gal actually comes out with an Advent every year.
Really?
So I just did it as a class, and I just like to learn new techniques. And of course, I love that whole community if we're all doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Very pretty. I like it.
what is your Opal wearing back there? She's not wearing
she's not wearing pants. I probably should do something at the base of Opal, but those of you who know me, I am frugal in many ways. Actually, for the umpteenth time, it's the Golden Sand Shawl by Hohe Locatelli. Like that. I knit it KnitCircus gradient years ago. Probably we're looking at 8, probably 8 or 10 years ago. And I knit that on a size 6, I believe. Anyway, on the Frugalometer, it earned, by the colorway was shades of gray. And then on the Frugalometer, $5 signs for that yarn.
Yeah.
Now, I wear it. It's probably my most worn scarf. So in that, I'm going to say scarf because it's really not big enough to be a shawl. So in that respect, I thought it was good value, but whoa, pricey.
Well, there was, I'm sorry, I interrupted. There was that time where KnitCircus, at least for me, was one of the few dyers that I knew that did gradients.
So if you think about that, that's the year I bought it. When they first emerged on the marketplace, I don't know when it was. Remember, I went to Dayton and I bought us a bunch of those gradients.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, definitely have gotten my money's worth. I like it. And what is your Ruby wearing?
Time of the year. Isn't that spectacular for autumn? This is the pattern called Falling Leaves. It's by Joanne Kiley. Joanne is the owner of Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. That is a free pattern. If you go to Magpie's Cottage website and then just download it. The yarn, the ivory in the back was a Baah yarn in the La Jolla colorway, or the La Jolla base, and the colorway is La Perla. That was left over, I think, from my Festival of Stitches. And then Joanne had dyed up this mini skein set in all these autumnal colors. And I don't know if she has, I know she has mini sets left. I don't know about this specific one, but you could always check with her. And that was knit on a US size 5. And I was, it was a privilege to test knit that.
It's very pretty.
Yes. And again, it's the colorway selections that kind of set it off. And that on the Frugalometer, she gave me the pattern free because I was a test knitter. And I would say the La Perla or the Baah yarn was probably 3 on the frugalometer. And I think she gave me the minis, which would make that a 1. So again, free pattern. You could have so much fun with those short rows. Like right this time of the year, it'd be fun to do like a Christmas colored one. Not super long. So again, hard for me. I love the long crescents. So this would be drape over my shoulder, maybe do something like this with, or use a nice shawl pin to hold it. Should wear it for Thanksgiving Day is what I should do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just make sure to move it to the side so you don't drip gravy on it.
That's right. Or pumpkin.
And you'd have to rewash and block it. You have to keep things practical and pragmatic, Dawn.
You got it. All right. So maybe I'm not going to wear Thanksgiving. So what you working on? What's
so thinking of pragmatic and practical, I am working on that squishy fisherman's rib blanket. I am using all my bits and pieces.
Oh yeah.
I have you know how you sometimes buy linen sets and they're in those vinyl zipped bag?
Yeah.
That was full when I started. I think I only have about that much at the bottom. I don't care how much yarn I have, I am using it. So hopefully I will work through this. It's great to take to my appointments because I don't have to think about it. And once I get that done, then I'm sure this will slow down and I'll just have to wait for other scraps. So this, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You're probably just going to say what I was going to ask.
Oh, well, if not, ask me anyway. It is by Yarnspirations, which I believe is an affiliate with Bernat. I could be wrong, but it's one of the big box yarn companies. And it's just all my scraps. And it is knit on a size 9, a single $sign on the frugalometer.
Holding 1 strand?
Yes, because it's worsted. I'm not doing it.
I didn't know if you were using all of your yarn weights.
Well, you know what? I didn't say that. I do have some funky ones in here, just for a difference in texture. The problem is they don't necessarily work real well with this fisherman's rib. So I did kink some out. But anyway, yeah, very nice for just transporting it to appointments.
And you don't mind transporting a big old blanket?
Oh, no, not at all.
Because I know you did your alliteration scarves for a long time.
I did. And after this, I'll go to something small, but it's winter. And when I'm at physical therapy, I'm allowed to sprawl. There's room to sprawl. So the blanket's no problem.
When I cry at physical therapy, I can just sit there and knit for a while.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, what are you working on?
This is not on the show notes.
Oh, it isn't?
Oh, I forgot. Okay, so squirrel moment. Oh, look at those lovely green and gold, Green Bay Packer colors.
Yeah.
I was going to show something else, but I was at the end of a row, so I wanted to hold off. This is stuff I just crank on my sock machine. This lime green that you see here is just waste yarn. So this is 35 rows cranked. I'll put it around one of those clear ornaments for a Christmas ball. And I'll show you what it looks like.
Let me see. Oh, Dawn.
I had some leftover Green Bay Packer yarn. You'll see it again here in a little bit. But I just kept cranking as much as I had left over in 35 rows. And I just put these together. Now, I just ordered on Etsy and I was hoping it would come in little things that you had shown that have the year 2022 on them.
Oh, yes.
It all attach.
Well, I had to, were they already stamped or did you buy the stamping kit?
Oh, they're stamped already.
What?
Yeah, I'll put the link in. I think I forget, did I get 20 of them in a set?
Oh, okay. Because I bought the stamping kit and I just stamped the year on mine.
Okay, now look at this one. It's lace.
Look at you.
My gauge is off, so I need a bigger ball. My ball sack's too big. That can go.
Dawn, don't go down that road. Self-control.
That's getting better on the machine, isn't it?
It sure is.
So
look at you go.
This would look better if it was tighter. You know what I mean? So I need it.
Is that the 3-inch one?
Yeah, and I think this one needs the 4-inch.
Okay.
And there's a couple other ones where I must not have had my tension quite right on the machine. And so they're looser. And so I would need the bigger, but I have an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster for those of you on sock machines, and this is knit on the cylinder that has 64 needles or 64 stitches. But what a nice little way to do with extra yarn.
I like it.
So because of that, you'll see I've got a couple here I can crank out. So that is what I am working on. And are you not quite monogamous? Do you have something
I'm
else?
not quite monogamous because of these appointments. But if you don't mind, I'm just going to show for those of you who know I'm working on an intarsia project. Would you take a look at the number of bobbins I have? Hello.
Crazy.
Is there any reason my hair is gray? But nevertheless, and you're not going to be able to see the pattern really well. I am knitting an intarsia Mario blanket.
You can see it.
For our grandson. And it has been a good project. And I'll talk about it in what we've learned. I would show you this, but I have my sticky note on the row that I'm using. So anyway, it is a great little pattern. I purchased it on Etsy. It is by Not Just Nan Knits, Not Just Nana's Knits. And she does have patterns on Ravelry as well. I am using Barocco Vintage. These were colors I had left over. And I just decided to put them in the blanket for him. Modified the blanket a bit because it was a baby blanket size. So I added rows to the border. I added rows to the inlay. And I added stitches to the border, stitches to the inlay, and I'm adding rows on the top and bottom borders. Knitted on a size 8. So the frugalometer, that Barocco Vintage, I give a 3. And then on the pattern, I gave it a single dollar sign. It was very, very inexpensive. And she has several. So if you have individuals in your family that really like these pop culture icons, she has several patterns that I would recommend taking a look at.
You need to take a picture of all those bobbins because that's impressive.
For someone that it's not impressive, it is pitiful. And that's what I need to learn. I don't know if anybody knows this, but is there like an expert in intarsia? Because I want to chat with them about how many bobbins you really need. Because what I discovered is if I only have one color, in theory, I'm supposed to have a bobbin for that color. The color before it and the color after it, right?
Right.
Because if you pull it, you distort those stitches. That's why I have umpteen, it is the word for the day, umpteen bobbins on that blanket. But I'm enjoying it. And I dare say I would do intarsia again.
Oh, wow. I don't mind. I haven't done it for a while, but I don't remember any strong feelings either way.
I'm not good at it yet, but I have improved. And so that's the important part for me.
Right.
What about you? What else is on your needles?
I'm working on the Gresham Wrap. So there it is from the pattern. This is
gorgeous.
There are 6 of us doing it together. We cast it on the first day of winter to be done by the first day of spring. So I thought that was a reasonable time frame. Here is.
You're on the 56 or 53 inches, aren't you?
Yes. So this is a half linen stitch. This was a kit from Blue Sky. I was gifted the kit. You'll see that each of these colors is a different texture stitch.
Like it. I like it.
We got 25 grams maybe of all these different colors. I used about, well, maybe it was 50 grams. I don't know, but there'll be enough left over. Now I'm going 54 inches on this half linen. Now in the kit, the ivory color came with 2 150 gram balls. I'm just about to end the first one. When I was thinking I wanted it a little longer than the pattern says it's going to be like 78 inches. I love closer to 100. So when I was at the Arne and Carlos class, I bought one more 50 gram of the ivory, figuring I'm going to use all the rest of the ivory in this middle section. Do the colors again. And that way, if I introduce a new ball and the colors aren't a perfect match, you won't be able to see that difference. Yep. So
Very good. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, the pattern's by Michael Vloedman. Again, it was for Blue Sky. So the yarn that we are using is the Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok worsted. On my Ravelry page, I have all the individual colors listed. It is knit on a US size 8. The pattern came printed inside the kit. One of the gals is already done, and she used every bit of her yarn, and she really likes the length of it. And I'm going to try it on the next time I see her, because if it happens to be that the length that she did is with the yarn she had is fine, I could find another use for that other 50 grams that I purchased.
Did she use the same kit?
Same kit.
Oh, well, then you're not going to have any leftover of the colors to barter with me, Dawn.
Oh, this I'll have lots of leftovers of these. I just won't have any of this, the white left.
Oh, okay. She just used up all her cream.
She used up all the cream.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I want it off my needles by the end of the year, only because I want everything off my needles by the end of the year. So I had to do some calculating. And if I do 8 rows a day, I might be able to get it off. It'll be close.
Well, you're just going to have to give up that house cleaning and that cooking and all that other stuff.
I hate to sacrifice for the greater good, but I will. So Frugilometer, the kit was a gift, and it included the pattern. So that's a 1. If I had to buy the pattern and the kit, I'd probably go 3, maybe 4 on the Frugilometer for both. All right.
What else is on your needles?
Well, here's an update on Stevie. Now, Stevie is a sweater pattern by Elizabeth Smith. Our dear friend Lynn, who comes to our meetup, who just is an unbelievable, faithful supporter of our podcast, was wearing this at the meetup. Now, not in this color, but you'll see that this is a top-down raglan. When I saw Penny last time, I tried it on, and it was too tight underneath the arms. So we did some calculating, and I jumped up 2 more sizes on the pattern. And I don't know if I told you this, Penny, I redid my gauge this week, and it is different than original. So the calculation off the new gauge was spot on.
Oh, good, good.
You'll see it's a cotton acrylic yarn. I'll give you the details of that. But do you see where cotton yarn to me looks a little wonky at places? Now,
yes.
The beauty of this pattern, if I can say, is the underarm. And it's just starting. Oh, look at these lovely little needle things you should have on your yarn. Needle holders, Penny. You can buy them.
Oh, can you? I'm sure I can probably use some old something I can cut up.
Llamas. They have llamas. They have macaroons. They have, oh yeah, I may have bought 1 or 10. Okay.
No, I will use the styrofoam from my empty hairdryer box that I used to make my bobbins.
Stop.
There you go. Got it.
Now, this is not a mistake here. So these are going to increase to create an A-line in the sweater. So it's going to get that natural increase at the hips. So I don't have to add that. Now the pattern says, if you don't want that, you can leave it out. But now here's another, and I should have talked about this with what I'm learning. The other day I was knitting in a group, and I looked at these lines, and they were no longer straight. They were all wonky. So I thought, do I tear it all the way back to here? I just dropped down the 5 stitches, fixed it, and knit them back up. And all 4 of them were off, and I was able to do that.
Wow.
Good lesson. Time-wise, it might have been faster for me to rip all that out and just reknit it. But I wish it'd show up a little bit better. It's just a nice line.
Yes, it is. I can see it. An eyelet line.
Yeah. With the cotton yarn, I don't know. I'm hoping at the end of this, I don't say nice pattern, wrong yarn, but my gut tells me I'm going to say nice pattern, wrong yarn. Speaking of the yarn, it is Cascade Avalon. I bought it in a D-stash. You'll see it's 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it's worsted weight. So it's going to be heavy. So maybe that's going to be okay. I love that I come back and do the neckline last, so I'll know how it's going to lay and what it's going to pull, because I do like a higher neckline. So I have plenty of yarn, so I'm not worried about that. The pattern calls for short sleeves, but I think I'm going to make mine either 3/4 or maybe even bracelet length. We'll see, maybe 3/4. So can this be done by the end of the year? I don't know. That's a lot of knitting too.
Yeah, but it's not a race. I think we've
Right.
reminded each other that of a couple times.
Not a race. And I'm loving this tubing, to put everything on. So, all right. So some more details on that. As far as all knit on a US size 8. On the frugalometer, I gave the pattern a $2 sign, and I also gave the yarn a $2 sign because I did buy it in a D stash.
Good frugal choice.
Yeah, so very nice. And last, no, I guess there's 2 more. I was able to pull out the shawl for your son's wedding because
You were?
the weather's a little cooler and the mohair. So let's see if I can show this. It is pretty.
Oh, Dawn.
Can you see the sparkle or not? There's
No, but I can imagine it.
there's little tiny sequins in there.
Oh my goodness.
So it's on the bias again. It'll be a long, so there's probably how you'll see it. It's a long rectangle. Not even, maybe I'm just at 1/3 of the way done.
How pretty.
Um,
Pretty.
Schnee by Melanie Berg. I understand Schnee is the German word for snow. It is knit with Rowan Kid Silk Haze color. So that's that mohair that ombres. Also, yeah, price tag right on there. Little expensive. So for two rows, I knit just 1 strand of mohair. That's why it is so slow going. The next 2 rows, I hold it with this yarn, Legato Palettes. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And this is a lace weight yarn that has tiny little sequins. Can you see? So in the Tuesday night Zoom, Woo was knitting this for her granddaughter's wedding, and she did it all in white. And you could just see that sparkle. So yeah. So again, lots of knitting to do for this. I think this is where I was probably the last time.
But still, you're making great progress.
Oh, it's just wispy. But in the summertime, working just mohair got a little sticky.
I bet.
Winter has now landed here, so yeah, I think I'll like it.
I think so too. I can't wait. What would you give it on the
I
frugalometer?
would give the frugalometer, thank you for focusing me, $3 for the pattern, $3 signs, and I also gave the yarn 4.
Okay.
Rowan Kid Silk Case color. This was very reasonable. I was able to purchase this yarn from Around the Table Yarns, an online shop. They're a yarn brick and mortar, I think, in Shakertown, Ohio. This was very reasonable. This yarn was.
Oh, good. Very good.
Rowan's can be a little.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it. Do you have your dress yet?
No, but somebody told me just to get a black dress.
I think that's a good idea. I have one if you want to borrow it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Will it fit?
Yeah, I got it for $19 on
Oh, but you're
Amazon.
better than I am, so.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, what else is on your needles?
Oh, I thought go naked. Okay. I'm teaching a class, not that I'm in a hurry, but it starts Tuesday. I'm teaching this mitten pattern.
Oh, I love those.
The Selbu mitten.
Yes.
Skeindeer knit.
Yes.
I'm not very good at picking up the thumb yet. You see that little ledge there? Anyway.
That is gorgeous.
The yarn I'm using is a new yarn to be, again, Selbu Mitten by Skeindeer Knits. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. We got a new yarn shop right here in De Pere, Wisconsin, and they are carrying Joji long yarn, new to me. I believe it's a British yarn, Italian yarn. And the base I'm using is called Chow. It's a DK weight, and I am using alabaster and pitch.
Cool.
DK weight. The needles are a US 4 and a US 6. Interesting. The US 4 you need for these 2 rows. Everything else is a US 6.
Oh, cool. All right.
If you only had a 6, you could still do it. Now, here's what I'm trying on the second one. I would love your opinion. I'm going to do it inversely.
Oh,
These 2 colors.
interesting. I can't wait to see the difference.
Weird. I don't know if it's weird, if it's fun, if it's, I don't know. I'm going to try it. And if I get halfway up and I don't like it, I'll tear it out. It's going to use every bit of yarn. When I weighed my skeins afterwards, I had 27 grams left of a 50-gram skein and 25 grams.
Oh, yeah.
It is yarn chicken.
Yes, it is.
Now, I had knit these a few years ago. Same pattern, DK weight yarn. So, yeah.
Very cool. Ooh, I like those mittens.
Frugilometer, I would call the pattern a $3 sign, and I gave the yarn a $3 sign. And glad that we have a local yarn store again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is what's on my needles.
Cool.
All off by the end of the year. I'm going to make that my goal. We'll see if it's realistic.
Okay. Well, just go ahead and tell us what's off your needles this time, because I have nothing.
Oh, I just have one. I finished the Hylan sweater by Heidi May.
Woo, look at you.
For a friend of mine's granddaughter. Thank you to whoever gave me the black idea to do the cuffs and button band. You'll see it has a little peplum. I think the size, I'd have to look 7-year-old, 9-year-old. The young lady got to pick out the yarn herself. So
I like it.
Grandma's going to put the buttons on, but there's just 2 buttons.
Oh, okay.
Now, I've not done buttons before. These seem very loosey-goosey to me, those button bands. So if I had to guess on a child, you're going to want to reinforce those, but you can kind of see where my thumb's poking to. Yeah. Well-written pattern, I thought. Heidi May, is she Autumn Acorn? Oh,
Felted Acorn, I think.
Okay, something Acorn. Heidi May. Paid for pattern on Ravelry. The yarn was by Hobby Lobby. This is the gradient here, or the neon color gradient, whatever, the color changing yarn was Yarn Bee Glowing in the Shopping Spree colorway. And then I also just picked up some Yarn Bee Soft Secret Solids in the black. So they are both DK weight. I used a US size 6. The pattern, actually both of them would get a 1 because Miss Sue gave me all of this stuff. She gave me the pattern and the yarn. But if I had to call it, I would call the pattern a $1 sign, and the yarn probably a 1 or a 2.
Very cute. I like it.
She knit one for her other granddaughter in that same red yarn that I'm doing Stevie in.
Oh, okay.
They are getting shipped off, hopefully to get there for Christmas. But I asked if I could show it today on the
Oh, I'm glad you did.
And then I'll show you the picture of the young lady wearing it. I'm tempted to make her a headband. I just crank out a headband that I have in some rainbow yarn. It's not identical, but I thought that might be a fun little gift to send along if I can get it together.
I think so. That would be very cute.
That is the only thing off my needles.
Well, very good.
So what are
you learning?
Oh, what am I learning? I am learning twining. So twining, I took that class with Arne and Carlos. Twining is another form of color work and how you catch floats. In which case in twining, you don't catch floats. I'm going to turn this mitten inside out and see if I can explain it. Otherwise, go to YouTube, type in Arne and Carlos twining, and they have a whole video on it. So from what little bit I know about color work, and I mean little bit, you have the philosophy of hold 2 colors, 1 color in one hand, 1 in the other. So you knit English and you knit continental and you trap your floats or catch your floats. Lots of theories on how to catch floats. These guys don't catch floats. They also don't do 2-handed. They just knit from one hand. They are not advocates of color dominance. So
that just messed with several people's minds right there. Go ahead.
Can you see this twist?
Yes.
That's twining. And so every time I change yarns, I drop the yarn I'm using, pick up the other one, and it twists the yarn.
I like it.
Now, are there floats? Of course there are. Oh, look at that float. That's an interesting one. Okay, go on, show the other side. Okay.
I like it.
I like it.
Did you use it for the whole mitten?
I did. I tore out the other one that I was trying to catch every single float on. That really changed the fabric.
Okay.
And I did this whole thing twining. So when I teach the class, I'm going to teach whatever way they want to do it.
I like it.
Now, size-wise in comparison, this is just a tad smaller than the red and white ones, but the yarn's not quite as thick. So I'm going to attribute it to that more. But yeah, I like it. Now, to twist means your two yarns constantly twist. So at the end of every row, I just pull the yarns apart and the needle spin, and then I take off. So if that would drive you crazy, twining may not be for you. The video you see on YouTube is they're showing you how to do a hat, and I believe they have a free hat pattern on twining just to learn. So I am learning that. Now, the other thing, because remember when I said I wanted to flip the colors?
Yeah.
So this is how the pattern looks. Of course, I had to blow it up for my vision.
Right.
So the white, I knit with white. The black, I knit with black. I started trying to follow this pattern, working the colors opposite, and it messed with my head. So look what I figured out how to do.
Look at you.
How to inverse.
So how'd you do that?
So
Is it a PDF?
the pattern's a PDF. So I okay, let's see if I can figure this out. I think I just did on my phone a screen capture that made it a JPEG photo. I have an app, a free app on my phone, and if I can remember to add it in, I was able to upload it into the app. There's a thing called Invert. You push the button, save it, bring it back up into Knit Companion.
Wow.
Now, if you don't use Knit Companion, this may be an easier way to follow along too. And then when I teach the class, one of the things I put on something to bring to class if you want is colored pencils, so that as you do a line, color it. I like pencils in the sense that if you're wrong or make a mistake, you can erase it. But yeah, so that is, look at that inverse.
I like it.
I know, I was like giggling. I was like, I can't believe I figured out how to do this. So that is what I am learning. How about you?
That's great. Mine is related to intarsia, and it's so nice that you put up that chart. Those of you who watched the last episode 89, you know that I was frustrated. It was very slow. I had 8 restarts. I was about ready to put it into some time by itself. I was just getting to that point, but it's been a long history with me that I solve problems at night in my sleep. That's how I did geography. Not geography. That's how I did geometry proofs in high school, chemistry, all of that. For some reason, my brain has much more space, time to gather all those bits of information, and I often solve problems in my sleep. Well, about a week ago, I had a dream that I was using the chart instead of the written directions. So here's what the written directions look like.
Wow, yeah.
Kind of crazy, right? But as a teacher of reading, I don't mind words, and I don't mind charts either. I don't mind either way. But I will tell you, in my dream, I was using the chart and I had a sticky note that was just above the pattern or the row I was knitting. What a difference. I am screaming through this thing now.
Really?
Yes, much faster. And I think this is why. You were talking about that pattern and how it was messing with your brain to transpose which color you were going to use. That was opposite of the graph you were using. The brain just had a hard time with that. Well, I think that's because the brain loves patterns. So all I have to do now is look at the pattern and I know which color I'm supposed to be using.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. Less cognitive energy. And I think now it's actually a bit delightful for me. So we'll finish it. I mean, I'll finish it and then, wait and withhold judgment until then. But right now, that's been a game changer for me. Yeah.
It's those simple things that you just have to let, again, however people learn, everybody learns different, but to figure that out and then be willing to work through it and then share with us. So.
And so, like you, now I have some comparatives.
Yeah.
I've tried it with the written instructions and now I'm using the chart. So I'll see at the end what I think and then decide if I want to do another project or not.
All right. Can I show something else I forgot to show?
Absolutely. You're the boss. Do whatever you want. Oh my goodness. What is that, Dawn? You made those?
They look sad. These little sad things. We're going to try to do some charity knitting. And these are some free patterns on Ravelry.
Yes.
I'll link them. I'm just using scrap yarn. But
How cute.
but you knit these as a tube. Just a long tube, and then you just sew them up. It's the craziest thing. Like you did so many rows for the hair. One of the gals found 8 different skeins of skin colors. And so we've all been sharing those, but look at this little guy, hands in his pants.
Isn't
His
he?
legs are a little crooked. The little snowman. I need a
I
pom-pom.
like it. Yes.
But we were talking about doing some, I need to get better at how to separate these arms out in the legs, but I just thought, what a nice way to use. So I cranked this one.
So they really are just tubes.
These are knit. And as soon as I realized it was a tube, so you can see the difference in size for sure.
Yeah.
But I just threw on some, this is an off-white yarn that I had some scraps of. I just cranked however many rows it said, and then I just ended with the red yarn for the hat. And then that's what I just did a little 5-stitch I-cord. Now, some people are very good at embroidery. They're doing cute little eyes and nose and stuff like that. But yeah.
How cute. I'm glad you showed those.
I know,
That's great.
I didn't have the heart to give them to charity. They are not very stuffed well. I don't know what the word is there. Anyway.
Well, they were your prototypes, your testers.
I don't do lots of this little stuff. It's kind of putsy.
It is.
Yeah.
How cute.
All right. Okay. So what's new at Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, actually, we are just kind of moseying along. We still have our ongoing YouTube giveaway, and we will choose someone after this episode. If you want to be included in that drawing, you need to answer the following question in the comments below. This episode's question is, what are you currently knitting for charity, and what is the name of that charity? So if you happen to have a link to the charity, that would be great too. You can drop that in the comments. But we want to see during this time of the year where giving is really going to be helpful for many people, we would like to hear what you're doing because it just might spur us on to do something or to join your charity. So we will make that drawing and the winner will be announced during episode 91. The other ongoing KAL that we have, it's not really a KAL, it is a hashtag finish, fix, flip, or frog KAL in Ravelry. We choose someone from that and we'll be choosing that person during episode 92. So please, if you're interested in being considered, post a picture of something that you've either finished, you've fixed, you've flipped it, changed it in some way, or frogged it. And we would be happy to use that. And by the way, let me tell you what, if you need inspiration, that's a great thread to to peruse. I don't know how I got an in there, to peruse for inspiration. You'll just be overwhelmed with the creativity of the people in our fiber family. So thank you so much. And then Dawn, I think you're going to give us a little bit of background information on the Baah Cowl KAL.
So at the meetup last year, there was some discussion about doing a multi-podcast knit along. And so there are, I believe, 7 or 8 podcasters who are going to work on knitting the Baah cowl. Now you'll see it up here on my dream board. It is a pattern by Marie Wallen. It's a cowl that can be shorter or longer. It is definitely color work. Noelle from Knits and Pieces was our inspiration, as she does lots of color work. Both her and Kelly do. So we kind of threw it out on the table. I don't know if it was quite a double dog dare, but it might have been.
I believe. So
I'll put a list of all the podcasts that are going to be part of it. I can try to think of some of them. 3-Ply Podcast, Knits and Pieces, Dude Knits, Got Whips, PJ Knits, Pandemic Knitter, Magpie's Cottage, Around the Table Yarns. They don't have a podcast, but they are a great yarn store who are putting kits together. So I'll try to put all those links in our Ravelry discussion board. So the Ravelry discussion board has been established. Every podcast is going to set their own rules, decide when they're giving away prizes. Penny and I like to keep it simple. We'll draw when we remember to draw. I'm going to guess every couple of months. We're just going to have one board too for both chatter and finished objects. If you don't like this pattern but want to do another color work, go for it. We'll probably run it the whole year. Podcasts are each going to decide a little bit different. If you do happen to go to our meetup this next year, we would love to see them, even if they're just works in progress. So I think Magpie's Cottage may put kits together. Around the Tables putting kits together. The yarn and the pattern is Jameson and Smith. So yeah, that'll be kind of fun. So January 1st is the start, and we will end December 31st next year. So I can't wait to see all the different ones. I am going to use the yarn as recommended in the pattern, I think, because color work is not natural for me, and matching colors or changing colors. I don't have that wherewithal. So I would like to do that.
Me either.
Several people asked me about the patterns that are up on this board. Feel free to ever remind me, but those are my hopefully upcoming patterns. The Cargill cowl is what you're seeing lower. The one that's upper that you don't get to see right now is called Autumn Comes. That is a wrap, kind of like the Sophie scarf, but that's a pattern by Lisa Haynes. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway.
I don't either. I wish we knew.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing I know. Our dear sister Nikki has something to share with us for this podcast. And what would Nikki tell us? She would say, when frustration comes to the forefront, take a step back and go back to the basics. Now, remember, she's a golfer. So take a step back to the basics of the pattern, your grip, your stance, or your knowledge, and you'll figure it out, either while you're awake or while you're asleep. I added that last part. So thanks, sis, for the words of encouragement. It's so true. Take a step back and you'll figure it out. And take a step back and get ready to put this on your calendar. Episode 92 will be up sometime, or 91 will be up sometime in December. We don't know which date, but hopefully, I don't think we've determined that yet, have we? No. Anyway, so without further ado, we hope that your week is a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. And thanks so much for joining us for episode 90. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.